My Bill, how's it going?
It's going great out there.
Out there? Is it out there? Is it going great out there?
It's going great out there.
I'm talking to them. I wouldn't even talk. It's going great right here, I guess.
You know what I think is great? I think page 28 of the Do Some Good is pretty great. And we're going to tell you all about that here in just a few minutes. Show them.
What's on page 28?
28? You want to find it?
I see. But we'll tell them in just a second.
We will tell them in just a second.
All right, cool.
Super excited to have you guys today. We're going to be talking with another local organization who is doing incredible things for our community.
Heck yeah. We'll be right back. Did you guys flip to page 28?
I hope so.
While we were playing the intro music? Yeah, I hope so too.
Yes, and so I want to ask, you were very personal and open about something that you went through a couple of years ago. Do you want to give us a highlight of kind of before we bring on our guests to kind of give our listeners and our watchers an idea of what's happening today?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I had a lot of stuff happen in my life. So I had my first personal ever experience with like a mix of anxiety, depression, and I realized, whoa, like this is an insane thing. And before that, I was never able to empathize, I guess, with people or with the concept of those type things, of mental type issues. But then since then, I almost became like appreciative of what I went through, because I was then able to empathize with others. And I'm like, oh, cool. Like I totally see
Incredible.
Like what you're talking about, or, even if I don't know exactly. It's Connie. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Thank you so much for being with us. So tell our listeners a little bit about NAMI, what NAMI stands for, NAMI, and what you guys do for the community.
I will be glad to. NAMI stands for the National Alliance on Mental Illness. So it is a nationwide organization, but we have over 600 state and local organization affiliates throughout the country. And there's a very active one right here in Mobile, which I'm involved with. So what we do is offer, we are a grassroots organization. We're the nation's largest grassroots organization that is dedicated to improving the lives of those that are affected by mental illness. Whether you are a family member of someone that lives with the illness or you live with the illness yourself. And we do that through education, support, and advocacy.
That's incredible. And so I like that you mentioned the loved ones of people going through mental illness, because it is a family issue. It affects not only the person but the people around them. And sometimes if the people around them or even themselves don't have the education on what this is, how to help, the things to say, the things not to say, the things to do and not to do. And so this is incredible that your organization can come in and bridge that gap.
Right. So we are, our local affiliate here in Mobile is completely volunteer run. So we are just a group of volunteers that are passionate about bringing awareness to those in the community about mental illnesses, especially serious mental illnesses, because there's still a certain stigma out there about people that live with a serious mental illness. You see things in the news about people that may have done something that was bad, and it's always, they'll say, oh, because they had a mental illness. Well, that's really not accurate, because most people that live with an untreated mental illness are more likely to be the ones that are that have violence on them, as opposed to the opposite. So
interesting.
Mm-hmm. That is
interesting.
No, but you wouldn't think that because of the news coverage, because that it always makes it sound like everybody that has a mental illness is out there doing bad things. And that's just not true. There's so many people like, okay, Brooks, you just shared that you struggled with an illness, but it's manageable. And so anytime you hear those things that are someone that did something bad in the community because they had an untreated mental illness, but you never hear about the people that are living with a mental illness that have it under, they're managing their symptoms through, either therapy or maybe they need medication, and maybe they just need support. Maybe they need to just talk to somebody, so that's kind of one of our goals is to provide that, get that stigma barrier broken down.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's also a lot of like, I mean, if someone's doing bad things that don't have a mental illness as well, I'm just thinking about that. I mean,
Absolutely.
like, yeah, like it doesn't necessarily correlate, right? I
Right.
mean, doing something you shouldn't be doing or whatever, or that's against is doing something you shouldn't be doing, right?
Right.
Whether,
There's a lot of
yeah, so
crime
that's
going on.
interesting.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
crime going on out there, and it's just by people who are bad people. They don't
yeah,
Amen to
necessarily have a
that.
mental illness. But
yeah,
my point is that a lot of times the media doesn't help by spotlighting that, oh, they had mental illness. When you do that, it continues, it just perpetuates that idea in a lot of people's heads that, people that have a mental illness are violent, and it's just not true.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So what are some of the things that NAMI does to support or to kind of help with this idea? Like what would be some of the big things? Would you say that you guys do for this?
So I would say, just to give you an example of how somebody comes into NAMI and why, would be my own personal experience. And that is because I have a son that lives with a serious mental illness. And he became sick when he was in high school and had his first psychotic episode when he was just a junior. We didn't
Wow.
know anything about mental illness. And so until we found NAMI, and they gave us this free education program called Family to Family. And it was a group of family members that came together being taught by other family members who knew what it was like, who'd walked in our shoes and could help us understand the illnesses, the treatment options, how we as family members could better communicate with our loved one, and how we could learn to empathize and put ourselves in their shoes. Just like you were saying earlier, Brooks, it's
Right.
really important to be able to put yourself in someone else's shoes so that you can further help them. And that was, once we learned that as a family, things began to fall more into place for our son because he had a family that understood it, knew how
Mhm.
to help him to get to a place where he was better. And so that is for family members. NAMI does that. We offer that at no cost because our passion is to educate those family members. So many people that have a serious mental illness, their families, their behaviors are odd and can be incredibly annoying. And so people
Mm.
just, they wash their hands of their loved one. They don't know what else to do. I'm not blaming them. I understand it's difficult, but our purpose is to try to educate them so that they can get to a place where they can start communicating and helping their loved one into a good place. So, and then we also offer to the people that are living with a mental health condition. So my son, once we were a supportive family, NAMI offers an education class and support groups for him. So he gets together with other people who have walked in his shoes, who understand what it's like. And that is, I mean, I can't tell you how incredibly helpful it was to me as a family member to not feel alone. Like I did feel like I was all by myself when we first found out he was sick. But when we were with other family members, it was like, oh, hey, okay, there's other people out there going through the same thing. And the same was true with him. Getting support from people who understand what you're going through, incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
it's priceless. It really is. And as a parent, I can only imagine whenever, if our child, and how you were feeling, you want to do anything and everything you can, go to the ends of the earth to figure it out. How can you help this child? And so I love that NAMI was there to provide that. Sometimes it's just knowing about the resources that are out there. And I think this is one of the reasons why we are doing this project of Do Some Good, is just letting the community know. There could be thousands of people out there right now in our community who have no idea that you guys exist and that are needing something, somewhere to go, someone to ask questions to. So this is, you guys, what y'all are doing is amazing.
Yeah, thank you. And we want to thank you for doing what you guys do, because it is, there are a lot of organizations out there doing a lot of good in our community. And I applaud you both for shining the light on those organizations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This one in particular, because it hits our family on, on a personal level, but I don't think that we are alone in that. I think you can look at any family structure and dynamic and just see that, there's a lot of people living with these kinds of things. So if someone is out there and they're struggling, or they have a family member who is struggling, what are some immediate available resources that you guys can give to them?
So we have a phone, a volunteer who answers our phone line. She may not always be able to answer it, but we have, voicemail, and she will always contact them. And then we provide resources. So, we are not mental health professionals. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a psychiatrist, but I am specially trained as a family member to help other family members through the difficult. So what our volunteer does is offer the resources that we may know about in the community, like maybe their loved one, maybe they're looking for a support group. Maybe they are just newly having some issues with their loved one, and they don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. So we provide, all to points information to them, how they can get through maybe they can go to the new crisis center that is just recently opened up. So those things that you wouldn't know about necessarily unless you have already been in that system, nobody really knows about what to do with a mental illness. It's not like we teach people in school. What are you supposed to do if you find that you have symptoms of a mental illness? Where do you go? What do you do first? We don't teach people that in the school system or anywhere.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what we do, is provide those resources, let them know about any programs that we might have that would be helpful for them. And other community organizations too, not just NAMI. We're not saying we're the answer to everything.
Right.
People call looking for help because they don't have housing for their loved ones. So we try to direct them to the resources in the community that might be able to help them with that and other things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think you had a question.
Yeah, I guess I'm almost like things I'm hearing from you is things like being able to provide almost like education resources. Community is almost, I feel like, maybe something I'm kind of understanding, as well as like provide empathy and be able to connect people, again, community, with others that can also empathize. I mean, these are kind of some of the themes that I'm gathering from you. Is that accurate, what I'm saying? Because those are really powerful things, if that's
right.
That's the
right.
case.
So we do. I mean, those are two of our main goals: is to help the family members and the individuals that live with a mental illness through our education and support programs. But we also do offer presentations where we have volunteers that have been specially trained to go out into the community. It's important for the community at large to hear from people who have a serious mental illness, but they are in recovery. Okay, they are managing their symptoms. And it's important to see a face of someone who they can share what they've been through when they were ill and before they got into treatment, but how they're doing now. And you can see that they can do it. It's possible. Recovery is possible. It's just finding the right treatment and getting into treatment and finding the right one. So we offer those kinds of programs. It's called In Our Own Voice, where two people who live with a mental illness go out into the community and share their stories of their dark days, their hopes and their dreams and their successes, so that people understand that. We also have a program called Ending the Silence, where we go into the high schools and we take a 50-minute block. So we go in for one block and talk generalization about mental health conditions, what the early symptoms might look like, what you might look for, that might be an issue in a loved one or even in yourself. And that's done by one main presenter. And then we have a young person, somebody that's under the age of 35, that lives with a mental illness, and they come in and share their story, which is probably the most powerful part of the entire presentation, is hearing from them and what they've been through. So that helps students kind of open up that conversation. I see that a lot more young people are a lot more open to talking about their issues than used to be. I think we're making headway. People are more open, especially since the pandemic. And there are so many more mental health issues going on since the pandemic because of the isolation and anxiety.
Yeah. The pandemic's opening up its own corridor, right?
Exactly.
To like all kinds of stuff that I feel like we're just beginning to really start to gather data on and experience and figure out what can we do with this. Young children, right? So all the way from super young kiddos, right? So that's wild.
One of the things that you mentioned is having someone come in and share their story that are now on the other side of it. I think one of the most important things that someone who is struggling is just hearing a story of hope and knowing that whatever they are going through now, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that it's not always going to be this way. And there are things that you can do to help your loved ones to get them through this. And I think that the stories of hope are probably the most powerful things that you guys can offer.
Right.
I had a question, and I don't know if you know the information behind this or not, but I know that a lot of cities in the country are retraining their police departments to understand mental illness more. So whenever there's a call because something's happening, that someone can come. Is Mobile on board with that? Are we making progress there? Do you know?
Well, it's amazing that you just asked me that, Mandy.
Okay.
Because in November, NAMI Mobile put together and sponsored a CIT training. CIT stands for Crisis Intervention Team, and it is a program, a 40-hour course for not only law enforcement officers. Okay, it's for law enforcement to teach them de-escalation skills. When they go out on a call, if they get a 911 call, which hopefully we'll have 988 coming pretty soon to handle more of those mental health.
I haven't heard of that. Okay, 988. Is that gonna be? So that might be the new number.
That will be the new number. 988 will be the new number. It's coming, and that will be for mental health crisis calls. But we don't want our police officers to be mental health professionals, right? But that is pretty much what they have. The jail has become almost our default system for the severely mentally ill that are not treated. And that is just not where they belong. So, but when police go out on a call and they encounter someone that's in a mental health crisis, we want them to know how to calm the situation down. We don't want them at that time to be, we want them to be a police officer and make sure everything is safe, right? We want to make sure everyone is safe, not just the individual, but the law enforcement officer too. That's number one. But we want them to be able to have the tools, know how to de-escalate that situation so that it doesn't end up in a tragedy.
Yes.
November, we had our 40-hour training. And just this week, Monday and Tuesday, the trainers, Officer Johnny Hollingsworth and his partner, Ray, came down from Huntsville because they are the CIT special people here in the state of Alabama. And they trained a group of our sheriff patrol officers and some corrections officers, mental health professionals, and some NAMI members how to be trainers. So now we will be able to train other law enforcement officers here in Mobile without having to send them to another state or another city, and then the police officers or the law enforcement have to, be without their people for any length of time while they go through this 40-hour workshops or class. So
That's incredible. I am glad I asked you about that. I had no idea that this was in the works. So this is incredible, and that's going to be something that is huge for communities. Our community and communities across the nation. I think that it is such. You hear the stories, you see the stories of when things go wrong, when police, approach something in the incorrect way, and so I think, and that's terrifying. For someone living with struggling with mental illness, or with a loved one that has it, it's terrifying to know those things happen, but it's wonderful to know that some things are in the works. So that is incredible.
Yeah, we're very excited about it, and there, Dr. Cindy Gibson, who is with Alta Point Health System, and she's over at the crisis center that just opened recently. I don't know if you are aware of that, but the crisis center is where someone who's in a mental health crisis, if they know that and they want to go voluntarily, they know they're in a crisis, they can walk in. They can walk into the crisis center and say, hey, I need some help. They have some peer specialists there that they can just talk to if that's what they need. There's like a little living room setting where they can go in and feel comfortable talking to somebody who understands what they're going through, or they can get, evaluated by the psychiatrist and get started on some treatment or back onto treatment if they want. Also, law enforcement have the option, if they encounter somebody that's in a mental health crisis and it's in, they've been called out and the person has committed, like a petty crime or something, and they know that it's a mental health issue, they can have the option to, instead of taking them to jail, they can say, okay, look, you got two options. I can take you to jail, or I can take you to the crisis center. And if they are willing to voluntarily go, then they can transport them to the crisis center and help them get into treatment, which is what we want. We want them in treatment. We don't want them in jail. It's not going to make them any better being in jail.
Yeah.
The resources there
might make it worse. Actually,
right.
I mean, I would guess it could actually make an issue. Yeah, like go the other way.
Makes it much worse. You're right, Brooke.
I feel like you guys are kind of making the term mental illness not so scary, because I think it's the unknowns of what it is and how it's going to affect you or your family. I had a family member, and we were discussing some things with my husband. This is years ago, and she kept saying, "Don't say mental illness. Don't say mental illness." And I'm like, "Well, that's what it is." I mean, but it just to her it just sounded so dark and gloomy, but I think that shining a light on it and the fact that it's so common is so important. And so I know that funding is one of the most important things that any organization, what their goals are. And so talk to us a little bit about your big fundraiser, when it's coming up, because I know it's coming up soon, and what all you guys are going to be able to do with the money that is raised.
So we have an annual walk. It's NAMI Walks Mobile. This year, hooray, we're going to have it in person. We're so excited. The last 2 years, we had to do it virtually because the goofy pandemic. But but this year, it'll be on April 23rd at Medal of Honor Park. And all the monies we raise, or not all of the monies, but the majority of the money that we raise goes into our NAMI Care Fund. Our NAMI Care Fund is a local, that's what we came up with to do with the money that we raise, to help people that live with the mental illness. A lot of the medications that people have to take for their mental illness causes them to have dry mouth. A lot of them are on disability and don't have dental insurance. And so with the dry mouth, it causes more oral issues with their teeth and things. And, if you don't have good oral health, it's going to affect the rest of your body as well.
Oh, absolutely.
So a lot of the money that we give out goes towards dental health. Last year, we gave out over $40,000 in help to people that live right here in Mobile that needed dental help, dental procedures that were going to cost a lot of money. So I think we helped about 60 people, and the total was about $40,000. So it's expensive going to the dentist. I know. I just went, and it is expensive. I don't have
Amen.
either, but that can be very helpful. And it's not restricted to dental help because we also help with other things, general needs. We've had some people that didn't have enough money to pay their bills or pay for their medicine, just for a short period of time. So we were able to help with those things. We helped one young man who he lived in a small camping trailer, and it was damaged with the storm. He had no place to live, so we were able to buy him another little camper that was in better condition. And so things like that. And then the rest of the monies, we do other good things in the community, but we don't have any paid staff. So all the money stays right here in Mobile and helps people that are in need because of some way that they're connected to mental health.
I love that you guys are volunteer based. That tells you how strong of an issue it is, and how determined that you guys are to help alleviate this problem in our community. That's incredible. That is really hard to do. There's a lot of organizations out there, and it takes money to have people just to answer the phone sometimes. So the fact that you guys are doing this on a volunteer basis is absolutely incredible. Brooks has a question that he likes to, as we wrap up, likes to ask. Yeah. And so I'll let him take it from here.
Yeah. Is there anything, Miss Connie, that you don't normally get asked, or that you would like to highlight more that maybe we haven't asked you today, or just that you don't get asked enough?
No, I think you guys were really great. You did a good job, and I think you covered everything. I would just like to mention that anybody who's watching this, they can go to our website, which is namimobile.org. Our phone number is on there, which is answered, all the time. They may not be able to answer it right away, but leave a message and we will get back to you as soon as possible. And then our walk, if they can.
Do you know the phone number, like that you could say out loud? If you do, yeah. If you don't mind, go ahead and just say the phone number.
It's 251-461-3450. So if they call that number and no one answers right away, our volunteer has that number transferred. It automatically rolls over to her cell phone. I mean, this is how dedicated this group of volunteers are. I mean, she's got her cell phone with her all the time. And, if she can't answer right then, she will get a message and she'll call people back. So, yes, we have wonderful volunteers that are very passionate about helping people that are affected by mental illness, both family members and the individuals themselves. And I would encourage everyone to support our walk. Come out and walk with us. You can register. It doesn't cost anything to register. It's namiwalks.org/Mobile. They can go to that website, register, form a team, sign up, and just come out and support us so that we can continue to do the work that we're doing.
I love it. Perfect. And I like that y'all are doing a walk. It's low pressure. You don't have to know how to.
Walking's my favorite exercise, actually.
Actually, yeah.
It actually is. It's become
easy on the joints.
My morning workout, as a walk. So
and it's a fun family event. I mean, bring your dog, bring the kids. It's not a race. We're just out there really to raise awareness and have a good time and support us. So.
I love it. It's wonderful. And then also too, if you have a paper copy or a digital copy of Do Some Good, you can find all of the information for NAMI on page, what did we say earlier?
28, I think.
28. So all of that information is listed right there as well, right on the bottom. And then there's also a QR code that you can scan with your phone to give direct donations to them. So we appreciate you so much. Thank you for all that you're doing. Truly doing some serious work in our community.
Well, thank you both for having me, and thank you for everything that you're doing to spotlight our good organizations in the community. We appreciate you.
Absolutely.
All right, Miss Connie. Thanks for taking your time. We appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. Hey, Miss Connie
All
was
right.
great.
Yeah, we love her.
Isn't that
She's
awesome?
fantastic. I am so she was open and personal about the struggle that she went through, and I think we all can relate to that. If it's not ourselves, it's possibly someone in our family.
Oh, for
And so,
sure.
yeah.
For sure. Like, and the only thing for me, like, I felt like such a phony when we're like, oh, I went through some issues. Cause like we're talking about serious stuff that like, but what I feel like for me that I can do is at least empathize and understand that like, oh, the brain is crazy and the brain is powerful. And so like before where I may have thought, that's pretty wild what's going on. But now I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty wild. But I'm like, I'll get it because the brain's pretty wild, because
Right.
the brain's pretty powerful. So
And so it's so easy to be like, snap out of it.
yeah,
Or,
right.
or stop thinking that, or don't do anyway.
Just don't do that.
Don't do that.
Just don't
Be happy. Think happy thoughts.
just don't talk to yourself.
Yeah.
Just don't see something that's not there. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, all
it's
these
so
things,
easy to say.
all these things that are real things that are happening because the brain's a crazy, it's a crazy computer. It's the most powerful computer.
It's
We haven't quite matched it yet. We won't go into that conversation because the world's trying to match our brains.
Oh yeah, I don't like that idea. But I think it's a taboo thing that we should stop being so taboo about.
So I thought about while we were chatting with her t-shirt idea. As I always have t-shirt ideas.
You do.
But I was just like, I don't know. I was like, maybe it's not right. But I was like, make mental illness cool or something. But I was like, maybe that's not the proper t-shirt. But I was like, I don't know. Just something
along those
something
lines.
Like attention grabbing that could be like, dude, it's okay. Like it's all good,
Right. It's like like a Me Too, but not really necessarily a Me Too.
Exactly.
But it is like a Me Too.
Yeah, something like that,
Yeah.
Anyways, great interview. I thought it was awesome.
Yes.
Guys, thanks for sticking around with us. And we look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.
Absolutely.
Take care.